answers in this case.
Absolutely. And joining us now to discuss the topic further, Dr. Jeremy Levitt, professor of international law at Florida A&M University College of Law in Orlando. Welcome back again, sir.
Great to be with you, Fred and Laverne.
Well, there are just so many issues surrounding this death that happened on February 23rd. So what are the overarching questions involving the police procedures in Glynn County?
Well, I mean, the video is a textbook recipe for the killing of another black man. Clearly, they didn't have reasonable suspicion to stop him, to question him, to ask for his identification, but they did anyway. And when he was compliant with them, the second officer on the scene attempted to phase him, not even knowing that he had been searched. So there was no communication between the officers and the other officer, just kind of let the other officer who was trying to tase him do what he wanted to do. The officer said he was concerned about his safety, but he initially was the aggressor. Now, that said, Ahmaud Arbery didn't respond the way we want black men to respond. We want them to de-escalate the situation. You don't need to curse at the officer. You don't need to make movements at the officer. So this could have been a recipe for a killing 3 years prior, quite frankly, and black men have been killed for far less than this. So we have to know how not to be a victim. And in this case, the police didn't follow proper protocol. And I think Mr. Arbery probably should have de-escalated the situation. Thankfully, he was able to move on with his life that day.
Well, the killing of the young man February 23rd is bad enough, but is there a history we're seeing here of targeting black folks in that particular area of Southeast Georgia that the DAs may be involved in, that the Justice Department is looking at, that the GBI is looking at?
Well, it's just called justice. Justice is a disproportionate number of white officers given the proportionate of the population involved with policing, particularly African-American areas. And then there's the traditional cover-up. These district attorneys said they had a conflict of interest. The conflict of interest is they had relationships with the accused killers. And in this case, wanted to pass the buck. The bottom line is that this is the trend across the country. It's not unique in Georgia. We saw just in my hometown of Los Angeles and South Central, we saw officers harassing young black adults at a park, Jesse Owens Park. So this is a national trend. It goes from east to west to north to south. And the bottom line is we have to know our rights. He was right to tell the officer he couldn't search the car. He was right to question the officer's motives, but you also have to know how to de-escalate the situation. And the question for me is what if there's not film in any of these situations? What if there wasn't film in Georgia? We would have had another justified homicide of a black male. So this kind of leads me to the point that we have to know our rights. Every African-American male, I don't care what your age is, should have a digital recorder in their car. You have to de-escalate the situation. And you have to embrace the Second Amendment. You have to know how to defend yourself if that should be the case, and you have no other option.
So now that this video has emerged of this tasing incident, could his family now go back and try to file charges or do something against those officers that were in that first video?
Yeah, they could certainly file a complaint with Internal Affairs. It's not going to go anywhere. At the end of the day, he wasn't tased. There was an attempt at tasing him. Second of all, he did step forward at the first officer. He showed aggression. And really, we have to ask ourselves, what is the purpose of this video? I think it's character assassination. I think the video of his killing is so bad, this portrays him to many whites in America to be a thug or to be lawless. And so it's a way of trying to minimize empathy for his death and divide the country in terms of what was the real motives of this person. If you look at the comments on conservative media, they're calling him a thug and a criminal. They're saying, look, now you see why he was killed, among other expletives. So I think this is a part of their character assassination, but it's not going to hold water. On this one, these gentlemen are going to be prosecuted. Hopefully we will see justice here. And the family should probably just put this aside, use it in the trial. The prosecution should use this. But more than that, there's no civil remedy here for him.
Yeah, certainly disturbing all the way around. Thank you so much, Dr. Jeremy Levitt, professor of international law at FAMU College of Law in Orlando. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.